Hey everybody, welcome to Geekdom Movies. Fahad is not here today, but George and I have a wonderful review for you. Fahad got caught up at work, but we just went to see My Spy, and this was our second early screening, so thank you Fahad for getting us early screening tickets.
Thank you, Fahad.
We got to see this before everyone else, and absolutely loved it, so...
All right, sure. So... I have got to say, this definitely lived up to any expectations that I had for how much I was going to laugh. It really was amazing. I'm going to put this out on a limb that it's going to be probably within like the top 3 comedies this year, in my opinion. And so far, definitely the best comedy. This movie had me laughing probably from about 5 minutes into it until like the very end. It was just so good. And I don't know, what were your thoughts on it?
It was hilarious. I really was not expecting it to be any good. I thought it was a kids movie by the trailers and the posters and everything, and it is for like slightly older kids. But there was a 6-year-old, 7 or 8-year-old behind us, and he was cracking up at every joke, and I loved that he was sitting behind us because he was laughing and engaged the entire time. So I guess kids can watch this. It has a few swear words in it and stuff, but nothing too crazy. But it's good for adults too. Like, so I went in expecting a kids movie. Is that what you were thinking? I was kind of I wasn't anticipating it to actually be the same level of comedy as I had seen in Stuber, which had the same main actor. But so I was like, oh man, you know, like I was hoping it was gonna be funny, but I was going in expecting like, you know, kids comedy, not like a lot of laughter, just, you know, a lot of action maybe. But it was way better than I thought. So much better than I thought. I have a hard time focusing on movies sometimes and plots, and I'll kind of daydream, but this one held my attention for the entire runtime. Like, there was not a minute where I wasn't engaged. It felt like a very short movie. It went by quick, and I think that was just because it was good. It was funny. It was hilarious. I don't know if it's going to be like one of my favorite movies of the year or anything, but it might make the lower end of my top 10 list. It had a lot of heart too. You've seen this movie before. Like, I'm trying to think of another movie where like the kid, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really. So skip for a second if you don't want to hear. It's kind of obvious though, like the little kid is trying to get her parent a spouse. Like, that's a common trope, and you've seen that in movies before, but it's done really well here. You've seen like spy movies before with a lot of action. The Pacifier. This is a lot like The Pacifier, which I loved. I loved The Pacifier when I was a kid. But this had a lot of like meta jokes and in-jokes that were just cracking me up. Do you want to go into spoilers? Because it's hard to talk about this movie without it.
Sure. So, what would your review be on whether or not to go see it?
If you need to kill 2 hours with some kids, like, you know, maybe 9 and up kids, definitely go take them to this one because you're going to be entertained as well. If you just like high energy comedies, probably going to want to Netflix this one. Like, it's pretty good. But I hope people go and see it in theaters because it deserves to make some money because it was well done. It's a good family movie.
I would have to agree. I would honestly say that, you know, I would say if you just want laughs, just go see it. Because it's really good for that. All right. So now we're moving on to spoilers. So what kind of spoilers do you have?
Okay, so there's some really funny lines that I wanted to remember and say out loud. The one that cracked me up, I was dying, was when he was dancing on the ice, and he has this girl who he works with who's his partner, and they make it pretty clear that like she's not going to be a love interest. Like, they make it kind of obvious she's a lesbian, and she is like his tech girl. So she's watching everything that he's doing on this date, and he starts dancing, and she goes, this looks like the end of the Shrek movie. Looks like the wedding in Shrek. And I don't know why that one got me so hard. I was dying. And then there's a couple scenes where, like, he's teaching the kid how to be a spy, and he's like wiring a door for an explosion, and he's like, I just did it with Play-Doh. And like,
that was so funny. He's like, do you want some Play-Doh too?
Do you want some Play-Doh too? I can get you some Play-Doh. And oh my gosh, hilarious. And the soundtrack. I want to talk about the soundtrack for this. What did you think?
I was really glad they brought some pop hits in with some deep bass. It's about time. I just generally like pop music with bass in it. So they had some really good bass. You're
more of like an actual musician than I am. I just hear what's popular. But there's a scene at the beginning where it's like this big dark spy action scene, and he's like driving away and there's explosions in the background, and he gets in the car to drive away, and the 99 Red Balloons comes on, and it's like, no, I didn't know I'd sing no balloon, and it was hilarious. And so he's like, I can't drive away with this music, and he changes the radio station, and it was like bye bye bye, or like Britney Spears, and it just kept being all these
one more time, by Britney Spears,
me, baby. And then everyone's like
it's
dying,
like, okay, yeah.
Bodies are flying and blood's everywhere, and the kid behind me was cracking up when that guy flew across the screen.
Oh yeah, they were like, it was like some Russian opera music or something, and that was so hilarious. Like, as soon as the action started, and just guys literally flying completely horizontal across the screen. It was so funny in slow-mo. It was that was hilarious. You don't normally you'll see guys like flying across the screen, but you don't see them like completely level. Yeah, that was so good. That was so good.
And it was like violent, but it was like funny violence. At one point, they go into like recoup with their boss after the mission, and the guy has a PowerPoint, and he's like showing them pieces of their mission, and he's like, you cut off a guy's head, and the guy's head like spins across the screen.
that was pretty funny.
No, he was like, their head of security, their head. It was so funny. So it had some really original, clever jokes in it against this like very stereotypical rom-com meets action hero movie that you've seen before. The little girl who was the lead actress, I thought she did a really good job.
Oh, absolutely.
Little kids in movies can get annoying really fast, but I always appreciate a kid that can act, and I always like any movie that like stars a kid and they can act. I'm gonna love that movie. Oh man, I loved Uptown Girls and the Chronicles of Narnia, and I don't know why, but I just like seeing the like Stranger Things. I loved. If you have a good child actress or actor, I'm gonna be into it. So her name, I looked at the end of the credits. I don't think I've seen her in anything before. Her name is Chloe, something else with a C. Her name is Chloe Cumberland or something like that. She was really good, and she's going up against an all-star cast. Like, what's the guy's name that was the lead actor in here?
David somebody. I can't remember.
He's
Drax. I can't remember.
Drax from Guardians.
Yeah.
Which I would not have recognized him. I didn't realize how much CGI they did on him. Oh, there's a hilarious scene where he's teaching her how to use the lie detector, or how to lie on the lie detector.
That is too good.
And she goes, "Okay, I'm gonna blink if I'm telling a lie." And she goes, "I believe that you never used steroids." That was hysterical.
And then she's like, "No, come back. I really didn't mean it."
Oh yeah.
That was so funny.
This kid is like a 40-year-old in a 9-year-old's body, you know.
Yeah, her sarcasm is so good.
Yeah, she was cute. Very cute.
But yeah, I think all in all, like this movie had just some very hilarious things. My favorite thing, I think, from this was at the very end of the movie. Well, was it? No, it wasn't quite at the very end, but it was very close to the very end, where they're walking away and they wanted to walk away with an explosion in the background.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And then he's like, I can't believe it's a dud. And then he's like, don't tell anyone about this. And he pulls a pin on a grenade and throws it back there.
Yeah, they're walking away from a jet fuel tank that has a little leak that's lit on fire, expecting it to explode. And earlier in the movie, she had said, "You're teaching me all the boring spy stuff. I want to learn how to not, look at explosions when I walk away." And they practice with fireworks. And so when this big jet fuel thing doesn't blow up, he pulls out the grenade to blow it up. And the mom is there, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Oh, it was really good. Very clever. Very well acted.
Yep.
I want a sequel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know I'm going to watch this one again because it was just too funny. But yeah, so for how I would say this movie is just, one of those really, really good comedies. It's going to get you laughing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, I would say it's kind of similar in comedy level, at least, to Central Intelligence with like Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson. I thought that one was pretty hilarious as well.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, it's kind of similar to that in certain ways. And yeah, it was just a great movie.
Yep, I really enjoyed it. I think if you have kids, they're going to absolutely love it. If you just like action or funny movies, you're going to like it.
Yeah.
I think it might become a kind of a stealth classic. For some reason, I don't know if with the coronavirus right now or whatever, I feel like this one's going to be kind of a dud in theaters. I haven't seen hardly any advertising for it. We've sat through a lot of trailers. I haven't seen any trailers for it. Have you?
I've seen them on Snapchat, on Facebook.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, but
I guess I've been living in a hole. I haven't seen many trailers for it, but I might not be the target. They're probably targeting him more. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it might be a little bit of a dud. And then after people start watching it on like Netflix and whatever streaming service it comes out on, it might catch on. I think people will like it.
I think so too. Yep, absolutely. All right. Well,
yeah, usually Fahad is the one that makes these reviews 40 minutes long. So
yeah, he's extremely talkative. But yeah, I think that was pretty much everything I can remember. How about you?
Yeah, that's all I had to say about it. And Fahad will be back for the next review that we do. What movies do we have coming up?
I think we have Bloodshot, Emma, and there was another
Emma,
one.
Bloodshot.
I can't remember exactly the name.
A lot of the movies have been pushed back because of the coronavirus. We were supposed to have Mulan next week, and that's been pushed back. I don't know until when. We were supposed to have wasn't there another Pixar?
No, I know 007 was pushed back, but I'm not sure if that was because of the coronavirus or.
Oh, and we might go see The Hunt.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That one was pushed back for 3 years after the election.
Wow.
Yeah, it was made 3 years ago, but it had a public outcry against it, so they just pulled it after the last election. So it's finally coming out now. It's going to be very interesting, highly political. We have differing political opinions among this group, but we're all friends. So that's going to be a fun review. So stay tuned for The Hunt.
All right, see you guys.
Peace out. See ya.
And Patreon, YouTube, subscribe, like, comment.
Make sure you turn on the notifications. You have to go to the bell on YouTube. It has the little apostrophes next to it. If it doesn't look like the bell is being rung, you will not hear from us because those subscribes don't really mean a whole lot to YouTube. So make sure that you subscribe with notifications. Go to our Patreon page. Leave a couple bucks if you can. And all right, peace out, guys. We'll see you soon. Have a good one.
Bye.